Like, you can put bad spirits on people too. Like, you can put a person's name and like their birthday and shit like that inside the. You can put them inside the agoon pot. And then agoon like metal, like they can get shot, stabbed, something can happen to them.
So it'd be
6-7 is a demonic chant that you guys have your kids involved with, and if your kids are doing it, you need to stop them right now. This is Skrilla. This guy's the reason your kids are saying 6-7 from a song he made called Doot Doot. Skrilla is into demonic worship. He is a santero. He's into Palo Mayumbe. And the Doot Doot or 6-7 song is literally a chant and summoning the spirits that he operates.
Palo. Santo.
What's that mean exactly?
Like, all that sacrificing goats and all that shit not just for like, that's real life.
You sacrificed a goat?
Sacrifice goats, chickens, mice. Like, I do shit for certain shit though. Like, I'm not allowed to explain it.
That take y'all in my godfather crib so he can show y'all some shit with my religion.
Yeah, follow me. Starts off with El Igual, which is the path opener, Ogun, Ochosi, Shango, I got you.
He's in Santeria, he worships demons, and he summons demons into people to harm people. In specific, he worships Ogun and Yemeya, which number 6 is Ogun in the song, and number 7 in Santeria represents Yemeya, which is exactly what he is saying in the songs, and now your kids are chanting it. It's a reason he used the baby shark theme. There's a reason that your kids feel addicted and like they can't stop saying 6-7, and in the songs, it's nothing but pills, drugs, and addiction. Jesus Christ could save witches and people out of witchcraft, and I pray that Skrilla gets radically saved from witchcraft and Santeria.
Call the charge, I've been breaking rules. I just talked to E5, he say I will never lose.
Man, E5 don't make no mistake, bro.
What's E5? Because I heard of it.
Oh, shit! Yeah. A lot of people practice it like Señoria or somebody.
Beyonce.
Some people do. Yeah, Beyonce practice E5. She a child of Ocean. She a child of Ocean. She got songs. She got songs like talking about her ancestor. Every time she dressed up like her ancestor. When she was pregnant, she dressed up as Oshun.
Oh wow. So have you ever spoken with the dead?
Yeah, I feed them.
What do you mean?
I feed them all the time. I take care of them for them to take care of me every day.
With a broom, this nigga play, he late, he been, I got left with a tune. Nigga, I just said Ogun. Nigga, I just said Ogun, yeah.
I came out of a family that was, many of you, how many of you were raised Baptist? We'll start that way. All your life, that's what you were raised from the time you were a little child, a Baptist. How many of you were raised in a Christian home? Okay, now, so in the Pentecostal churches, which I try to avoid as much as possible, they have a term called homegrown Pentecostal. I guess homegrown Baptist would be just as fashionable. Well, I was a homegrown witch. From the time that I was 5 years old, I knew nothing but witchcraft. I would have known it sooner, but they didn't discuss it with me. They take you very, very young. And even before they start talking about the so-called positive aspects of witchcraft, they talk about the negative aspects of Christianity. So that being a Christian is a miracle, not because I wanted out of witchcraft, but that I would consider Christianity to be the only way out. Because they brainwash you from very early childhood that the Christian is the most evil being or creature in the universe. That he wants nothing more than to take the everyday witch out and shoot them, burn them, hang them, whatever he can do, and that they are the most hateful beings that ever existed, on the same level as maybe Adolf Hitler. So this is what I was raised up to believe. And my last name was Todd, but that was just changed about 60 years ago. Until then, our name was Collins. And the Collins family, my direct tree, was responsible, according to witchcraft history and a few history books that I can find also, with bringing witchcraft to the United States. So when I was 14, and some of you might consider that a very early age, but it wasn't. It was kind of a late age for this. I was initiated into organized witchcraft. In other words, I was made what Brother Rasmussen is. I was made a pastor, a minister. I was ordained. In fact, a few years later, when I went to enlist in the service, I didn't have to go because I was draft exempt, because I was the ordained minister of a legal recognized church. So, 4D status for a few people who know what that is. I'm sure Brother Rasmussen does. Ordained ministers are exempt. And I enlisted and went through the service until I got into a little shooting incident in Germany after I'd come back from Vietnam. I'd re-enlisted and went to Germany. And I was getting ready to be court-martialed. In fact, I had everything down pat. I was as good as gone. We had entered a plea of guilty for a deal of 35 years and then parole, and they wouldn't even consider it. An officer had been killed in the situation, and I was more or less just waiting to be transferred to Leavenworth to serve the time when Witchcraft Church, which I thought was just a little group of people that I belonged to, sent a political member of that church, a state senator, two of them, state senator, a U.S. senator, and a representative over to Germany, and they took hold of the situation, and 24 hours later I was a civilian in the United States with all my time, rank, and an honorable discharge, and my court-martial records didn't exist anymore. And all of a sudden I realized I wasn't in something that just lit candles and incense and said magic words once in a while and stuck pins in dolls. There was a little more to it than just a religion. And I left New Jersey and went home to Columbus, and I asked my real mother, I have two mothers, I have a foster mother and a real mother, I asked my real mother what I was to do, and she said, here's an envelope of $2,000 and a one-way ticket to New York City. You get there on the next plane and I'll tell them you're coming. She didn't tell me who she was going to tell was coming or anything. But I flew to New York City and I spent 6 months learning all new witchcraft. Till then I had been taught what most of the teenagers learn, and I want to tell the teenagers something here real quick. I'm sure most of you probably go to the school here, but if you were in a regular school, you would meet witches running all over the place. We hear this across the country. Almost every high school has it, especially in California. And they tell the young people lies. They tell them it's ESP, they tell them it's psychic power, they tell them it's spirits of the dead, they tell them everything but what it is. And I was supposed to be a high priest leading a church that had 13 ministers to it, plus a couple of hundred people in his congregation. And I believed this. And then all of a sudden, for 6 months, this man, Dr. Buckland, unraveled everything and told me there was a one God, where before we believed there was four. There was one, and his name was Lucifer. And it was very quickly to tell me that wasn't Satan. He didn't want me to get in the ideas that Christians could be telling me the truth. I should have thought then that if they had lied to me for almost 18 years, they were probably lying to me now. But I went ahead and believed it. For 6 months I took lessons in witchcraft that I didn't even know that things could happen that had happened. And then I was transferred to Los Angeles, good old LA. Can't seem to get away from it. And for 6 months, my foster mother taught me something that your pastor is very familiar with, the political situation of the occult. And all of a sudden I realized that witchcraft wasn't just spell casting, it had a purpose in mind. And that's when I started getting a little afraid, because when I was 10, as I said, I learned a little about the Bible. It just happened to be all revelations that I learned. And all of a sudden we were discussing a world ruler that would be personally guided by Lucifer, that could gain control of the world supernaturally and take control of people's minds. Of course, they didn't say there was a defense against this. The way they spoke, everybody was affected. They didn't say anything about the blood of Jesus. But we sat there, and for 6 months I learned the political structure and the history of witchcraft. And then I was taken to Colorado, and I was placed through an initiation into the sixth realm. And this initiation consisted of a blood sacrifice. And from then on I was given a territory of 13 states. This didn't happen to be one of them. This belonged to my foster mother. But I was in charge of all the occult, political, and drug activity in 13 states. And this is where I was in 1972 when I met the Lord.
Peace and blessings to the tribe. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Remember, they said it, now we're speaking on it. I am Mr. Telescope, and you're now watching the Telescope channel. So, getting straight into this premium black news, it's normally like to give to you. We're gonna be talking about something a little bit different today. I already dropped 2 Max B videos with how I feel about him, Whack 100 and his narratives about Max B. And I also dropped a video about how I feel about Jimmy and, you know, his narrative. or rather the narratives on him. I also might do a little update on that because I did see Cam say a couple of things, you know what I'm saying? But today we gonna do God's will, man. We gonna do God's will today. But I just throw it out there. I seen Cam say something about how Jimmy met Mano the first time, and how they met, and then how they became the Lobby Boys, which is funny. And we gonna talk about that, you know what I'm saying, a little towards the end. I might just brush over it right now, just for the simple fact, because like we already been talking about it. I don't want to keep on lingering over this shit. Apparently, you know what I'm saying, Jim Jones met Mano, and I'm dropping the clip in here so y'all can see it. But Jim Jones met Mano, and apparently, you know, he tried to press Mano. Mano was like, man, nigga, you know who the fuck you talking to? You thought I was one of them other niggas with whoop, you know? And, you know, niggas had, egos got involved, you know what I'm saying? Niggas' egos got involved, and niggas was finna scrap out or whatever, I guess. But, as usual, you know, per woofing, nothing ever happened. Fast forward, these niggas started becoming teammates. They call themselves the Lobby Boys and all of this shit, right? Salute to Sub-Zero, because he said some funny ass shit about, you know, if he was a younger nigga and he seen the Lobby Boys, what he would have did. But I might post that clip too. But nevertheless, these niggas become friends, form a group or whatever called the Lobby Boys. Now we already know, it ain't no right, ain't no telling. This nigga wear it around his neck. He throw it up proudly, throw it up high. You know what I'm saying? We already know Jim Jones is supposed to be, you know, an official gang member. You know, supposed to be in the hierarchy of the non-Trey Bloods, that and so on, whatever. All right. Who's to say, I mean, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, but from the looks of it, who's to say that he didn't try to, you know, initiate Mano into this shit with this whole Lobby Boys bullshit? Nah. I thought it was funny that Cameron brought it up and was like, oh man, you know, you tried to press Mano and then, you know what I'm saying, Mano wasn't going and, you know, you calm that shit down type shit. That's pretty much what he was saying, long story short. Like, that's really what the nigga was saying. Like, you started woofing, you was trying to play, you know what I'm saying, try to little boy a nigga. You thought that he was one of them, bro wasn't going, and you calm that shit down. You know what I'm saying? You pipe that shit down, like, you wasn't saying nothing, like, you know what I'm saying? You tone that shit down, you turn the volume a little bit. That's pretty much what he was saying, long story short. So, we gonna get into that maybe the next video. I ain't gonna linger on too much on that shit. I might put like a little clip of it in this video, or you probably already seen it in the beginning of me speaking, but yeah, I'm gonna drop the little clip so y'all can see. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like, these niggas put this shit on the internet for niggas like myself and other content creators to see. Why not make money, make content off of it? Or even if you ain't making money off of it, if you just got the love and the passion for the grind and the content and, you know, enlightening the people, you know, broadening minds and, you know what I'm saying, as Sub will say, doing God's will, you know, if you got the passion for that, then why not put it out there? You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, you love doing this shit, you love making content. Me personally, I love making content. Nigga, I wanted to be a journalist before it was even cool to be a journalist. Like, you know what I'm saying? I went to school and had a scholarship for journalism and broadcasting before niggas was even talking about journalism. Before niggas even knew the word journalism. I was like in school for this shit. But it's a popularized term right now. It's ostracized. Everybody are journalists. You know what I'm saying? Even if you never went to school for it, you was thugging, slaying iron, and never went to school for it. Even if you was a medical assistant, now you make YouTube content, now you a journalist. So that's the world we living in right now. Anyways, on the more important things, like I said, I'm just trying to do God's will today. So it's a viral meme going around. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is talking about this viral meme, which is not necessarily attracting the adults. That's probably why you haven't heard of it. But it's more so attracting the adolescents, the 7-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, you know, people that are minors and underage. It's more so attracting them. And the meme is a 6'7" meme. Pretty sure you all heard about what it means, what they say it means, what it stands for, what it's representing, what the creator of the meme represents. So it's one of those memes that you gotta kind of like, let's say, or not even memes, right? Let's say trends. That's a trend. It's something that everybody's doing right now. All of the kids, you know what I'm saying? They watching it, they doing it, they repeating it over and over. And the thing about this meme is galvanizing the kids, because the kids don't know. Kids do what they think is cool, what looks interesting, what sounds cool, what they seen another cool kid do, or a kid that they thought was cool. It's like a cycle. It's like a domino effect. The kid, and I learned this as I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I kind of knew it a little early on than most kids, but I learned it as I continue to grow. And it's probably because I stayed around older guys. But the kid that you thought was cool was actually getting bullied, you know, molested, R-word, whatever the case may be. So he was coming to school, he was bullying other kids. He probably had the fly clothes on, stuff like that. But then there was another kid that was cooler than him that he looked up to, that probably had the fly clothes and got all the honeys and stuff like that. But he see his mama getting beat up every night and stuff like that, you know, domestic violence situation. So it's another kid that he looked up to that had the same thing, if not more than what he had. But then that kid parent and his dad was a drunk, so his dad beat him, and he coming to school with like black eyes and act like it was a fight in the neighborhood. You know, it was different situations where these kids gravitate towards what they find appealing and what they think is cool. You know what I'm saying? So, you gotta watch your kids watch, pay attention, be mindful about what your kids watching and what they feel like is cool. Tell your kid it's cool to be a leader, it's cool to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Always encourage that. Always encourage leadership. Always encourage your child to do the right thing. Don't steal. You know what I'm saying? That's not yours. Give it back. You know, if you can, you know, open the door. If you're a young man, open the door for elderly women, or, you know, if you're a girl, you know, keep your legs crossed and keep your legs closed when you're wearing a skirt. Just old traditional morale and morals that we grew up on. You know, don't let that go out the window. And you teach your kids to move in this way. Those are just some of the simple, basic things that I would say, but you teach your kids to move this way and teach them leadership along with it. You know what I'm saying? In addition to teaching them old traditional values, and, you know what I'm saying, plus sizing it with leadership. It's gonna take your child a long way. It's gonna save a lot of lives, because somebody gonna look up to your child in the way they was raised and want to be just like them. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you make good role models. So just teaching your kids traditional values and what to watch and see and learn, you know what I'm saying, what's cool, what's not, you know, in the real world especially. And I mean, you got some grown ass kids. You got kids, people that are like 25, but they still act like they're 11 in their mind, you know. And the thing is with this is, you have to be careful, per se. You have to be careful because, even the dude that made this song, I'm gonna get into it, but even the dude that made this song, you know, he's dealing with Santeria and, you know, Ogun, and, you know what I'm saying, dealing with all of these spirits. When you're dealing with stuff like, and I was telling my wife this the other day, it's like somewhat of a netter. You know what I'm saying? Like, salute to Side Netter. I love his show. I love it. I love how he brought black consciousness to the black YouTube streets. But his name means a lot. A lot of people don't know what a netter is. So it's legit like a netter between us and the spirit realm, right? Where we can breathe in, breathe out. You can breathe in and breathe out. You don't see the air. The air is not green like in the cartoons when somebody passed gas. It's not green, right? The air is not blue, right? The air ain't even clear. You can't see. It's not purple or yellow or, you can't see the air, right? But you know that the air is there. The atmosphere is there. The air is there, right? You can't see the gravity that holds you down, holds your feet down to the ground and keeps you from floating. But you know that gravity is there. It exists. So it's the same thing with the spiritual realm. You can't always see it. They probably can see us from the other side, but you can't always see the spiritual realm, right? But you know that is there, right? You know that it exists. So that's why when you playing with these different entities and praying to deities and, worshiping Baal and worshiping objects and making sacrifices with chickens, goats, things of that sort, you know what I'm saying? You really playing a dangerous game. Like, even when, like, Santeria is something like voodoo, right? It's just very popularized, like voodoo or Majara. You know what I'm saying? For the FBA brothers and sisters that's watching that they be tuning in and you know what Majara is. It's really like spirits that you use to conjure up to battle for you. You know what I'm saying? Ogun, the metal god. You know what I'm saying? People have these type of rituals that they do. You know what I'm saying? With the spirit of Ogun. You even have, I just seen Stanford Vegas on a podcast saying how, he prays to the ancestors and he sends out sacrifices and, he does it all the time and he just threw it out there like it was, cool to say, oh, well, they do it, so I do it. He just kind of like someone threw it out there that, Beyonce worship Ofa. You know what I'm saying? And this, bruh, the generation that we living in right now, they just throwing it right in our faces, bro. Like, explore. First it went from, be yourself, your body, your choice, be yourself, to, openly just being flaming, you know what I'm saying, sleeping with the same sex, you know what I'm saying, people openly dealing with kids younger than them, you know what I'm saying, and still being accepted. Look at the whole Drake debacle and what happened with that. To now, people openly doing spiritual rituals and demonic rituals. Back in, like, I'll say, it's been going on since the 90s when I heard about Illuminati. It's been going on. Like, when I used to reference certain songs, you'll hear, like, Pac talk about Illuminati and stuff like that. But it was, like, something so, like, people didn't even really understand it back then. People was, like, so benign to it, and, like, they just thought, like, oh, man, that don't exist. That's just, that's just chatter. That don't exist, Nobody ain't putting up the pyramid and, selling their soul, and, your soul is not for you to sell. It belongs to God, and whoop-de-whoop. And that was always one of the dumbest things I ever heard, because I was a church boy, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in the church. And that was always one of the dumbest things that I ever heard, when people say your soul is not for you to sell. Your soul is for you to sell. That's why God gave you choice. That's why Satan, that's what this whole battle is about. That's why Adam and Eve got kicked out of heaven. God gave you a choice. He gave you freedom of will. That's your biggest power. That's bigger than anything that Satan has, because you have the ability to say yes or no. You got the ability to say, nah, I'm not going to do sin. I'm not going to commit sin. I'm going to do the right thing. Satan doesn't have that ability. He's confined by the laws of God. Satan is confined by the laws of God. Satan is confined by the order of God. If God say, I rebuke you, Satan. If you say, I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus or the name of God, I rebuke you, Satan has to follow that command. We don't have to do that. If we want, we can go practice Santeria. We can go practice all of these things. It's a choice. You can go to the other side. You can go to the dark side. That's what the whole movie Star Wars is about. You can choose the Force. Come to the dark side, right? We got the Force within us. We got the Force within us. You can choose to be a Jedi, a good person. Think practical, not impractical or impartial. You know what I'm saying? Don't think with your negative mind and think impulsive, right? Don't let anger consume you, right? Do what's right. Sacrifice yourself for the greater good. That's the Jedi mind way. That's the good way to go, right? The dark side, think selfish. You know, take out your anger on this person. Get revenge. Seek revenge. You know, don't die. Don't leave until you get revenge. That's the dark side. You know what I'm saying? So that whole basis right there of that movie is based on ancient Egyptian gods, but it's also based on the Bible and God, because the actual Bible came from Ethiopian people, right? The first Bible, or what we know as the Bible, came from Ethiopian people. They colonized them, took the Bible from them, and then made what we know as the Holy Bible, where you have the King James Version, so on and so on, or whatever the case may be. Now, you have people that are worshiping these deities and not understanding what they're awakening, whether they're awakening stuff in their life or awakening stuff in other people's lives that they love and that's close, that's dear to them, right? Some of these people, you know, sacrifice chickens, put names in boxes, and, you know, put names under shoes, and, you know, in their socks, and put, you know, ribbons and stuff like that from girls' hair, put people underwear and certain, you know, things, make them get sick, right? Put their name with medals, make them get hit by a bullet or stabbed. You know, just different things that you indulging in, and it ain't like, once you go down that road, it ain't no turning back. Like, it's I forget his name. I gotta think about his name. I think his name is Lent, and I found this out through watching a bunch of people that was either born in the occult or subjected themselves to being in the occult. It's a dude named, I want to say his name is, I'm gonna find his name. I know it's Lance something, but his dad was like in the army and stuff like that. Dude beat a murder case way overseas, and they sent him over here, not through the legal system and the judicial system, but because he had ties with people that were witches and warlocks inside of the judicial system, and they were part of the occult. And they had him come over here, and he was just pretty much ahead of a lot of states for, let's say, witchcraft and stuff like that. And that shit is real. And one thing that he said is he turned his life around. I guess you can always go to Jesus and ask for forgiveness and turn your life around, but he said one thing that witchcraft is like, and once you indulge in witchcraft and you dive full head in, like dealing with the devil and stuff like that, it's just like jumping off a ledge. It's like you jumping off a 60-foot ledge or a 100-foot ledge. There's no turning back. You know, it's like you free diving off of a ledge. There's no turning back. There's no parachute. There's no nothing. No railings for you to grab on. No nothing. You just jumped off the ledge. This is what it is. Your fate is your fate. You know what your fate is. You know you're gonna fall and hit the ground, but your fate is your fate. And that's what it's like. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna rap too much about it. I'm gonna put a little bit of that. I'm gonna put a little bit of that, as a matter of fact, inside of this video, so y'all can see. But that whole 6'7", you know, meme and all of that stuff, that's a lot of devil worshiping and praising of the devil, if you didn't know. The first time I heard, and the artist's name is, you know, Skrilla. The first time I heard his album, I'm not gonna say I was captivated by it, but I was more so in my mind, like, damn, you know, this shit is kind of like, you know, because I love to study. I love zooming in. That's why this is Telescope channel, because I love zooming in and checking out new things, checking out stuff that I don't really have knowledge about, but I do want to have knowledge about. And that could probably be to my downfall or to a flaw, but as well as me being prayed up and knowing who I serve, you know what I'm saying, knowing the Most High got me protected, and, you know what I'm saying, got enchantments around me. I know I'm good, so I do dive into certain things I know better than to dive into. But that was kind of like why Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for searching for too much knowledge. The greed and the hunger for knowledge, right, can cause a man destruction. While you think you acquiring knowledge and gaining knowledge, you just made a dumb decision. You know what I'm saying? You can acquire all of the knowledge in the world and get greedy and then want to take this last little bit of knowledge, but this is the knowledge that's going to have you worshiping the wrong God. You just made a dumb decision, so you really don't have all of the knowledge. You get what I'm saying? It's a funny God that we serve, right? If you serve God. But, and I always say that my daughter was born on April Fool's, so I always say God got a crazy sense of humor. He really does. Sometimes you look back on stuff that happened in your life and you be like, man, you know what I'm saying? You just smile about it, you laugh about it. God has a very funny sense of humor. God is very funny. That's why I think he put comedians on the earth to brighten up everybody's day when you going through hell, you going through all of this trials and tribulation, being tested by the devil all 24 seconds of the day. You know what I'm saying? You need like a little relief from that, you know what I'm saying? And I think music, I think comedians and laughter is that, and then God put the devil here for music to be that too, to give us a little to give us a little musical relief, if it wasn't a comedic relief. But the devil was so hatred that he was so mad and so filled with hatred that we had, you know what I'm saying, the freedom of will, the freedom of choice. And he had all of this magnificent power, and he could make music, and you know, he was a king of music. He could make people listen to his music and his enchantments and stuff like that, and his songs, and people would love it and do all type of things, you know. But he had to do it at God's command. He had to do it at God's will. He couldn't just do it by himself. So he turned on God, you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that's like that. You get them a little power, you know, they work in your organization, get them a little power, they want to be bigger than the programming. But not gonna linger on too long and, you know what I'm saying, keep on fast talking to y'all about this. Like I said before, man, the album, it kind of had me a little captivated, because I was like, damn, like this is kind of interesting. You know, I've been heard about Ogun, I've been heard about Oshun, you know, just now learning that Beyonce worshiped that, you know, that same type of thing. But, you know, a lot of these deities that he had named after his songs were crazy. Like, you know, it's like he was actually giving knowledge into the spiritual world, like giving some dark demonic knowledge, but like letting you know about like the spiritual world, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it was interesting. So when the album first came out, I think it was just about a year ago, the album came out, and then I was like, you know, just captivated by the videos and the dark demonic shit and that was in the videos, and I found myself just binge watching it. I was like, yo, this shit can't be right, because he's doing some demonic shit in there in the videos, and I'm just like captivated and watching this shit. Like, it'll draw you in, because it is, in a sense, it's interesting because it's of something that we don't see all the time. It's kind of, it's secret, you know what I'm saying? Anything that's a secret, people gonna be naturally, instinctively interested in it, because they feel like everybody don't know about it. But I was watching a little bit of it, and I was just like, yeah, and I just started like Googling a lot of this stuff, what this mean, what that mean, you know, just find out the history of what I'm listening to and what I'm watching. And you can see that, I seen that it was demonic then. But, you know, now the meme has gone so viral. The NBA is promoting it. You got players in the NBA promoting it. They all a part of the whole allegiance as well, worshiping it, you know, satanic stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Because it's all marketing. All the people that's in marketing is in the same thing with a satanic loop. So I ain't gonna go on too long about this shit, man. I already been talking about a good 20 minutes, but I'm gonna let y'all watch the rest of these videos. If I haven't put enough videos in front, let y'all watch these videos. I know I'm gonna record my audio before I even show the video, so that's why y'all see me talking in past tense or talking in, you know, present sometimes, back and forth. Then that's why, because I record my audio first and then I drop the videos. But hope y'all guys enjoy this video, man. Nevertheless, man, you know, I'm glad I can bring it to y'all. Remember, they said it, now we speaking on it. I'm Mr. Telescope, and you are now watching the Telescope channel. Make sure y'all go watch my last video on Max B, and the last video before that was about Whack 100, you know what I'm saying, and whatever kind of work, detective work that he be doing. Also, I did another video, you know, speaking on the whole Jim Jones and Max B beef. Make sure y'all go check those out, you know what I'm saying? The Wave God is free. Salute, man. I appreciate y'all watching. Once again, they said it, I'll be speaking on it. I am Mr. Telescope, and you are now watching Telescope channel. Telescope.
I came out of a family that was, you know, how many of you were raised Baptist? We'll start that way. All your life, that's what you were raised from the time you were a little child, a Baptist. How many of you were raised in a Christian home? Okay. Now, so in the Pentecostal churches, which I try to avoid as much as possible, they have a term called homegrown Pentecostal. I guess homegrown Baptist would be just as fashionable. Well, I was a homegrown witch. From the time that I was 5 years old, I knew nothing but witchcraft. I would have known it sooner, but they didn't discuss it with me. They take you very, very young. And even before they start talking about the so-called positive aspects of witchcraft, they talk about the negative aspects of Christianity. So that being a Christian is a miracle, not because I wanted out of witchcraft, but that I would consider Christianity the only way out. Because they brainwash you from very early childhood that the Christian is the most evil being or creature in the universe. That he wants nothing more than to take the everyday witch out and shoot them, burn them, hang them, whatever he can do, and that they are the most hateful beings that ever existed, on the same level as maybe Adolf Hitler. So this is what I was raised up to believe. And my last name is Todd, but that was just changed about 60 years ago. Until then, our name was Collins. And the Collins family, my direct tree, was responsible, according to witchcraft history and a few history books that I can find also, was bringing witchcraft to the United States. So when I was 14, and some of you might consider that a very early age, but it wasn't. It was kind of a late age for this. I was initiated into organized witchcraft. In other words, I was made what Brother Rasmussen is. I was made a pastor, a minister. I was ordained. In fact, a few years later, when I went to enlist in the service, I didn't have to go because I was draft exempt, because I was the ordained minister of a legal recognized church. So 4D status for a few people who know what that is. I'm sure Brother Rasmussen does. Ordained ministers are exempt. And I enlisted and went through the service until I got into a little shooting incident in Germany. After I'd come back from Vietnam, I'd re-enlisted and went to Germany. And I was getting ready to be court-martialed. In fact, I had everything down pat. I was as good as gone. We had entered a plea of guilty for a deal of 35 years and then parole, and they wouldn't even consider it. An officer had been killed in the situation, and I was more or less just waiting to be transferred to Leavenworth to serve the time when Witchcraft Church, which I thought was just a little group of people that I belonged to, sent a political member of that church, a state senator, two of them, state senator, U.S. senator, and a representative over to Germany, and they took hold of the situation, and 24 hours later I was a civilian in the United States with all my time, rank, and an honorable discharge, and my court-martial records didn't exist anymore. And all of a sudden I realized I wasn't in something that just lit candles and incense and said magic words once in a while and stuck pins in dolls. There was a little more to it than just a religion. And I left New Jersey and went home to Columbus, and I asked my real mother, I have two mothers, I have a foster mother and a real mother, I asked my real mother what I was to do, and she said, here's an envelope with $2,000 and a one-way ticket to New York City. You get there on the next plane and I'll tell them you're coming. She didn't tell me who she was going to tell was coming or anything. But I flew to New York City and I spent 6 months learning all new witchcraft. Till then I had been taught what most of the teenagers learn. And I want to tell the teenagers something here real quick. I'm sure most of you probably go to the school here. But if you were in a regular school, you would meet witches running all over the place. We hear this across the country. Almost every high school has it, especially in California. And they tell the young people lies. They tell them it's ESP, they tell them it's psychic power, they tell them it's spirits of the dead, they tell them everything but what it is. And I was supposed to be a high priest leading a church that had 13 ministers to it, plus a couple hundred people in its congregation. And I believed this. And then all of a sudden for 6 months, this man, Dr. Buckland, unraveled everything and told me there was a one God, where before we believed there was four. There was one, and his name was Lucifer. And he was very quickly to tell me that wasn't Satan. He didn't want me to get in the ideas that Christians could be telling me the truth. I should have thought then that if they had lied to me for almost 18 years, they were probably lying to me now. But I went ahead and believed it. For 6 months, I took lessons in witchcraft that I didn't even know that things could happen that had happened. And then I was transferred to Los Angeles, good old LA. Can't seem to get away from it. And for 6 months, my foster mother taught me something that your pastor is very familiar with, the political situation of the occult. And all of a sudden, I realized that witchcraft wasn't just spell casting, it had a purpose in mind. And that's when I started getting a little afraid, because when I was 10, as I said, I learned a little about the Bible. It just happened to be all revelations that I learned. And all of a sudden, we were discussing a world ruler that would be personally guided by Lucifer, that could gain control of the world supernaturally and take control of people's minds. Of course, they didn't say there was a defense against this. The way they spoke, everybody was affected. They didn't say anything about the blood of Jesus. But we sat there, and for 6 months I learned the political structure and the history of witchcraft. And then I was taken to Colorado, and I was placed through an initiation into the 6th realm. And this initiation consisted of a blood sacrifice. And from then on, I was given a territory of 13 states. This didn't happen to be one of them. It belonged to my foster mother. But I was in charge of all the occult, political, and drug activity in 13 states. And this is where I was in 1972 when I met the Lord.